Welcome back, everybody. So today's video we are going to be replacing these broken manifolds with that little piece of art. So I don't know what kind of fitment issues I'm going to run into doing this. There's going to be all kinds of fun stuff. Pretty sure these bolts are going to shear off, so I'm going to try and finesse these first ones off, see if they'll come. If they don't want to come, I'll try and put some heat on them, and then we will go from there and eventually get them all off and extracted.
So a number of these bolts I just wanted to give a try on, see if they would break loose fairly easily, and most of them did break loose fairly without a lot of fight, but then a couple of them just sheared straight off. This was pretty well what I expected, and so here I'm going to try putting a little heat on one of them. I actually got the head of the bolt glowing full on red. You can't really see it in the camera, but that's what it looked like before I attempted to remove it. But unfortunately, with the way these bolts are seized up in the head, they just shear off. They're so rotten.
Alright, I think I'm going to save myself a little trouble. I'm just going to break these last two off. So we got half of them. Then we'll just go into the process of getting the remainders out. Oh, that one came! Yay! That one came too. Alright, so we just got two that I'm going to have to drill and rethread, so that's good news. Alright. So I thought just for shits and giggles, I'd line this up real quick. Looks like it's going to line up really nicely. I actually took a measurement from the oil pan to the furthest out point of the old manifold, and this is right flush with that. So that's good news there. And it looks like we're going to clear around this motor mount just fine. It's a little close, but close is okay as long as it clears. So far so good on the fitment of these. Just got to do a little fine tuning to things like this dipstick mount there, but no big deal.
I left the spark plugs in the holes so that way I won't get any shrapnel down inside the cylinders, and just more or less just squaring up the ends of the bolts, so it makes it a little easier to work with. Now I'm taking my center punch and getting a good alignment, and then I'll take and actually hit it with the hammer style punch, just to make sure everything's good. And what I should have done is just bored through with an 1/8 inch bit and make sure that I get all the way through the bolt. What I didn't know is that these whatever material these bolts were made out of, it likes to work harden very easily.
Okay, in an effort to fix my boo-boo on this one, because we're just a little off course, I ended up spotting the drill with a smaller bit and ran all the way up through the bolt. So now I should be able to chase this one out, but also since I punched all the way through the bolt, I was able to just load the inside of this up with penetrating oil.
Another thing I should have done is actually use my other drill. It spins a lot slower, so that way I don't tend to heat up the drill bit nearly as bad as this one does.
Alright, change of plan. I had done trashed the left-hand drill bits I had, so we're going to just chase it out with a regular bit. And eventually we'll step all the way up to the 3/8 16 that this is. Here's the tap I'll chase all these holes out with. Might look and see if I got a bottoming tap for this size as well.
Yeah, once I finished drilling out to the final tapping size, I broke off the little remaining bits of bolt so that it would make an easier start for the tap. But again, we didn't know that this thing was work hardening as I went, which makes getting that tap started very, very, very difficult.
I finally got the stupid tap to start. What I'm tapping through, it's got a really bad hard spot in it. Who would have thought some old casting from the 80s would be difficult. But anyway, just kind of working it in.
Yeah, at this point my primary tap is getting a little bit dull, so I grabbed one of my junk taps just to see if I could clean up a little bit more of the threads, and it actually worked out pretty good using that other one. And then just take a break from the very difficult hole I went through and clean up all the other holes as well. Alright, now I'm going to pull the spark plugs out so I can take a file and clean up the mating surfaces for the new header. Don't want any kind of crusty buildup over the flange area. But yeah, just took a coarse file and took off all the big heavy rust.
Now, through an unfortunate series of events, there is not enough of the correct header bolts to go around. I think the kit I got was meant for like a or the bolt kit was meant for a V6, not a V8. So, what you get when you buy something made in China, designed to just be slammed out in mass numbers. So, kind of is what it is.
I just started with one bolt in the middle and then worked my way across, just very loosely putting everything together, and then I'm going to make sure that everything lays really flat before I start tightening everything up.
One of those little things I'm going to have to try and adjust here is this right here. That might work. In. Alright, let's get the last of these bolts in on this side. I'm going to have to use one oddball bolt on the other side. This should get us going for now.
And again, just getting the last of these bolts in here. I made sure there was lots of clearance on the bolt holes so they wouldn't bind up while I was putting it together. That's why I had some of them already tightened. And then just going through and uniformly snugging everything up. And then I went back later and torqued everything down off camera.
Alright, well, there it is all put back together. I torqued all these bolts off camera. So yeah, it looks like so far the fit is pretty good. Haven't any kickback issues with that. So I'm gonna see if the other side can be done off camera, and we'll just bring you back when it's time to start hooking stuff up.